University recruiting lead at Rakuten. This is the first year that we're partnering with Vanderbilt, so we're definitely really excited. This is the first time that we're doing this event with you all. So hopefully you'll learn a lot from Maddie and Alex, who are part of our Rakuten Ready team, and I will hand it over to them. And then maybe at the end, we can talk a little bit about recruiting timelines and open roles and things like that.
Sure. Maddie, you wanted me to kick it off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mind if I share some screens? Is that all right?
Yeah, for sure. You should.
I think whoever the host is.
Yeah, let me just enable that.
So I'll tell you guys briefly about not just Rakuten and in particular Rakuten Ready, but also the company Curbside, which is the company that I've been working for now for just about over 6 years, that was acquired by Rakuten and rebranded into Rakuten Ready. And I think it'll give you a nice backstory into who we are, why, and how we fit into the Rakuten ecosystem, which I'll also talk briefly about. And I'll just sort of give you an idea of what our business looks like and what the kind of problems that we're trying to solve look like are. So let me try and share screen. That seems to be working, and we'll pop into here actually. Let me pause that actually. You share, this is what I want. So great. Okay, so my name's Alex.
Are you sharing the right screen because you're sharing a Word document? Just
oh, sorry, my fault. Is that better?
Yeah.
Arrive overview. You probably don't care about my pricing proposal. The company Curbside was founded by our current CEO and co-founder, Jaron Waldman. Jaron had sold his previous company to Apple, which was a mapping company. And Apple acquired them and hired Jaron full-time to build out core location services within iOS. So he built almost everything Blue Dot positioning within the iOS platform and left to start the company Curbside, which is now called Rakuten Ready, to leverage what he and his colleagues knew about how location services worked within your phone and how your phone essentially works as the remote control for your daily life, and to create more seamless customer experiences for brick and mortar retailers and restaurants. So really the idea between everything that we do here at Ready is to bridge the digital world with the physical world and make those experiences for consumers and for operators more seamless. The way that we did that is we've built an entire platform essentially that works as a white label or customizable buy online, pick up in store platform. We build native and customized order ahead customer facing experiences. So that can look like ordering for a restaurant through our own platforms or through their own native digital app experiences. We build in-store tools that allow retailers and restaurants to receive those orders. What makes our platform really unique is a core product called Arrive, which lets associates know when customers who've placed orders are coming. And in this COVID world, I mean, we saw it coming pre-COVID, but I think it's only been accelerated by COVID now. We've been able to help supercharge those customer experiences for operators. So when you know that a customer is coming, not only can you make that customer handoff, the order handoff more seamless, but you can also more seamlessly put more people through your actual through your brick and mortar footprint. So essentially turning a first in, first out production queue into a just-in-time production queue, which is a lot more efficient. Let me go next slide. We were acquired by Rakuten just over 2 years ago. Rakuten is a global e-commerce company founded in 1997 by a really interesting Japanese entrepreneur named Miki Mikitani. It's a global company. We have offices nationwide, 17,000 employees. The core product here in the US, probably known by most of you as Ebates, which has since been rebranded into Rakuten Rewards, which is a really powerful ecosystem of consumers who are looking to be shopping and who want to save money on places where they shop. And by doing so, retailers can sign up to offer cash back to those consumers if they shop with them and or make qualifying purchases in store. you can see sort of how Rakuten Ready fits in really well, because we see the sort of Rakuten ecosystem here in the US as the top of the funnel, where consumers are considering where and what they want to buy. And once they make that purchase, we can take over and make that experience all the more seamless all the way until they get to the store. We work with some of the largest brands and retailers and restaurants in the company. If you have any of the Kroger banner apps on your phone, if you order from Chick-fil-A, which I hope some of you guys do, if you have pets and purchase at Petco, you're using our technology in one way or another to make your experience better, the operator's experience better, and essentially have a more rewarding customer experience. We've got some of the smartest people in the world on our team as far as location services go. It's really interesting how Arrive, our core product, works. I'll tease it out now. Essentially what it does is it embeds a couple lines of code into a retailer or restaurant's native app, and then uses some really interesting predictive technology to understand customer intent, anonymously aggregates that data into a machine learning model so that we can understand as a function of time, which is fundamentally different than how people have previously tried to solve this problem, which is via distance. How far away are you? We try to understand how far away are you as a function of time, and then ping that restaurant when you're a configurable time away from the restaurant. And then once you're at the restaurant itself, we use satellite imagery to paint your store lots and let you know when customers are coming. We have incredible touch points all along the customer journey. We can customize the ordering experience. We can just give you the arrival detection element. We can give you tools in store that help you sort of have an air traffic controller's view of that order ahead ecosystem. And I'm sure Madi will talk to you a little bit more about some of the different design touch points that we have across the customer experience for some of the largest retailers and restaurants in the world. Just a high level overview architecture on who we are and how we work. Our SDK is the primary product we have, which goes into a retailer's native digital application. And then we touch into the store in a number of different ways, depending how customers want to, our customers choose to receive those notifications. Without diving too far into the technicalities of how we work, because ultimately I don't want to bore anyone, I'll turn it over to Madi to talk a little bit more detail about some of the design stuff that we do.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Alex, for the great intro and detailed information about Rakuten and Rakuten Ready. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And now let me share my screen so I can talk to you about a different topic, which is more related to design. And that's related to my experience. So let me first introduce myself. My name is Mahdi, and I am a UX and product designer. I work at Rakuten Ready. And I have a little over 14 years of experience designing websites and mobile applications, native apps, mobile websites, and so on. And I worked in a few different countries across the world. I worked in Jordan, Dubai, the Netherlands, Switzerland, and in the US, I worked in Boston, and right now I am in the Bay Area. So with that being said, during all these years, I have tried so many different design tools and so many different applications and software to help me better design experiences and websites and so on. And today I will be talking to you about one of my favorite design tools, which is Figma. And this design tool, Figma, is now the design tool of choice at Rakuten. We use it in both teams, like in our Rakuten Ready team, and it's also now being used by the entire company, the Rakuten company. And in this presentation, I will be talking to you about 4 main topics. I will start by telling you a little bit about some of the cool features in Figma, and then I will tell you what can you build with Figma, like give you some examples of things you can create with Figma. And then after that, I will give you a small sneak peek to Rakuten's new design system. And finally, we'll end up working together on a fun project. And after that, we will start have a Q&A where we would all answer your questions. All right, so let's start with the cool features in Figma. So one of the cool features in Figma, and one of the best features in Figma, is that it allows multiple people on the team to collaborate on the same design, which is kind of similar to how you would work on a Google Doc. But imagine being able to do that with like design projects, where multiple people on the team, like the designer would put up some designs, then the engineer would come in and take a look at the designs. The engineer can leave their feedback. They can like say something if they have like a concern or something. The product manager can do that as well. Anyone, literally anyone on the team can participate and even make design modifications if they wish to. And the other thing is, in Figma, it's super easy to allow the engineers to see all the details about each element they need to implement in the application or website they're working on. Before Figma, we were using third-party applications for all these handoff tasks. When we wanted to ask the engineer, for example, to implement a new design, we would have to export it using another application, and the engineer would need to have access to that app to be able to see all the properties and specs for these elements. Another cool feature, which is auto layout. And I will show you how this will work. So this is a live Figma file. So in the past, like in the old times when we were using other design tools like Sketch and Photoshop, if you wanted to make modifications to the text inside a container, and you wanted to make sure that the padding around this text is consistent, you would have to do that manually. But right now in Figma, you can make modifications, and it will the container will adapt to the amount of content you have inside. So instead of search all categories, we could say search everything. And as you can see, it's very responsive. And if we want to change the text on this button, we could say search. And as you can see, the button will also adapt to the amount of text inside. So this is one of the coolest features in Figma. Another cool feature is symbols. So in Figma, there is something that is called symbols, which is a way for you to create an element that you are going to use in multiple places. And you would create a symbol when you want things to be consistent. So for example, if you have a button, a design for the main call to action button for your website or application, and let's say the button is yellowish or yellow-green, like in this example, and like down the road, the team decided that, okay, we want to change the color of the button everywhere in the application to be, let's say, pink. So to do that, you might think that you have to select all the buttons, all the instances of this button everywhere in the application and change the color manually. But if you are using symbols, you would have to change it in one place. You would change the master symbol file, and you would go to fill color, and then you would pick the pink color you want. And as you will see here, it changes it for all the instances. Let's say we want to change also the text color to something more. And as you can see, it changed it for all the instances. This makes it super easy for us to make modifications and also helps us when we need to create like different templates for different products. Another cool feature in Figma is spacing. So spacing the elements in Figma is super fun, and it introduced a new concepts that did not exist in other design applications before. So in the past, if you wanted to move this box, like rearrange these boxes and move this one to be the first one. In the past, you would have to do this and then make sure that the spacing is correct and like worry about all these kind of things. But with Figma, this can be done way quickly. You would select the entire group, assuming the spacing is accurate, is like identical everywhere, and then you would just drag it and drop it. Let's say we want to move this here. Okay, super easy. And another cool thing about spacing is that you can change the spacing between all the elements at the same time by dragging this small line in the middle. And another cool feature is that Figma supports GIF images. And that's actually something you would expect all design tools to support. But unfortunately, Figma is the only application at the moment that supports GIF images. And GIF images are fun, but they are super useful when we are creating prototypes and we are like designing something that requires like showing some like transitions and like animations in the experience. And with all that said, now let's move to our next topic, which is things you can make in Figma. One of the first obvious things is that you can use Figma to design websites. And in this image, this is one of the landing pages we designed for our Rakuten takeout application. Another cool thing you can create in Figma is that you can create clickable prototypes. So you can create like a website or a mobile app, like in this example, and you would make it clickable and so that you can user test it, you can show it to your team, you can show it to like potential customers to get some user feedback and so on. And in Figma, you can also design mobile apps. And because it has a lot of cool responsive layout features, creating responsive layouts is super easy. Another cool thing you can create in Figma is you can create and design icons. And these are some of the icons we have in Rakuten. These are part of Rakuten's icon set. You can also use Figma to create logos or draw illustrations. Basically anything that you can like imagine of, because it's a vector drawing tool, so you can draw objects that can be scaled as much as you want it to be, because again, it's a vector-based design tool. And you can also create design systems, which is something I will show you later on. And finally, you can create presentations using Figma, like the one you are looking at right now. So as you can see, the tool is pretty open. It's pretty awesome. It allows you to do so many different things. And this is super important and super awesome for the entire team. because it allowed us to have one place to host our designs, to host our design specs, to have all the feedback in one place, all the presentations in one place. So it's like a big, awesome tool. And now let's take a quick look at Rakuten's design system. So this is just a sneak peek to Rakuten's new design system. It's still a work in progress, but I will show you some of the elements we have in the design system. But before I do that, maybe I should give you a little bit of an idea on what a design system is and why is it important for the company. So a design system is a place or a repository of design elements like buttons and design components like these kind of cards and design and all these like components and elements. They are important because they can be used as building blocks when we are designing new applications or new pages and so on. And this is useful because it allows the designers on the team to focus more on solving real problems rather than focusing only on creating the visual, instead of focusing on the visuals. So the designers would focus on why this is why a problem, why something might be a problem for the user. They would think about different solutions. And then when it comes to putting the design together, they would use these building blocks to create like a website or a mobile app. So some of the design elements we have in our design system is these buttons. We have two sizes for the main call to action button. We have different styles for the buttons. The secondary, this is the primary, this is secondary and tertiary button. We have links. We have some brand objects that we use as a placeholder for images. We have some form elements like input boxes. And as you can see, we have in the design system all different states for each one of these elements. And as you can see, this cursor is for someone else on our team who's looking at the same file. And that's an example of how awesome this tool is. And this is like an example of how a map would look like in a container. This is an example of the header and so on. Now let's back to the presentation. So now let's work together on creating something fun. There's a link you should see right now on the screen. It's bit.ly/rack_figma. If you go to this link, you should see this cool thing. So we will work together on creating something like this. I hope that it works. Okay. Just a second, sorry about that. Oops. All right. So what we will be creating is a visual resume or like a mini website or a mini application to help all of you tell everyone about yourself. When you are like applying for a job, you could send this to impress the employer and so on. So I hope this will be useful for everyone. So the thing we are creating will have a landing page in which it would have your photo, your name, A couple of links. The first one is about you, your education, if you wish to, your portfolio, and finally, a way to help people to contact you. So if you tap on About, it should open a page where people can read about you. If you tap on Education, people should see a little bit about your education. Click Portfolio, should have some links about you. And if you click on Contact, it should have your email address or your social profiles if you wish to. So to do that, I hope that you're on this page. The first thing we're going to do is copy this entire project by selecting everything here, and then create a new Figma document. To create a new Figma document, you would hit Command N, and it should create a new page where you can paste the screens on. And to make changes, I'm just going to show you how to make changes, basic changes, and from there you should be able to make any sorts of changes you have in mind. So for the sake of making things move quick, I have prepared some data that I'm going to use. So let's say I want to change this photo and use my own personal photo, which is this one. I would select a new photo, then click here, Command C, then would click on my photo, Command V, and then there it is. And to change the name, I would select the name, hit Enter, then would type in the new name. As for the links, I think I'm gonna keep them as is for now. In the About section, I will copy this, which I got from Wikipedia, and I will paste it in. As for the education, I'm not gonna keep it. I'm gonna change it to maybe work experience. And I will put in Dunder Mifflin. And maybe I will put in a link to the Wikipedia page. Maybe that would be useful for the people looking at that. And as for the portfolio page, I'm gonna get rid of it. We don't need it. And I'm gonna keep the contact page. I'm gonna change the email to this one. And now to the fun part, which is linking these pages. Because we copied this prototype from my file, I think it should have some of the links. Yeah. So to do the linking, you would first select the element you want to link, and then you would click on prototype in the right panel. And then you would click on the circle and drag it to the screen where you want to link it to. And you would do the same for each one of the screens. And since we removed the portfolio page, we should remove the link. And that should do it. And for education, we change that to work experience. So let's say work so that it fit on one line. And now let's take a look at the thing we just created. So as you can see, this is the resume of Michael Scott. If you want to learn about Michael Scott, you would tap on About, read about it. If you want to go back, you would tap on this button. If you want to see his work, you would know that he's a manager at Dunder Mifflin. If you want to contact him, you would see this email, his email on this page. And that's it for this cool project. Now let's go back to the presentation. And that was, that was the last thing I wanted to show you in this presentation. I hope that you enjoyed it, you found it useful, and I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Thanks, Mahdi. I've got a question that maybe some students might have on their minds too. If a student were interested in kind of pursuing design work at Rakuten in the form of an internship, what are some attributes or technical skills that you would look for in their background or their resume that would indicate they might be a strong candidate?
We would, at Rakuten Ready, we would look for a good portfolio that showcases like a few design examples, whether that was projects at school or projects for like freelance jobs that they worked on. And in these portfolio pieces, we would look for attention to detail. And besides that, we are also definitely interested in learning what kind of problems these designs solve. So like we would look for like a couple of examples of projects that were done from A to Z by this student that would show different set of skills like design thinking, problem solving, visual design skills, prototyping skills. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Great, thank you. And then Michelle, if you don't mind kind of jumping in off the back of that, just kind of sharing a little bit more about what recruitment would look like and how students could learn more and if there are specific programs they should seek out.
Yeah, sure. So like I said, this is our first year with Vanderbilt and actually only the second year with a formal internship program, which is really exciting. I think Alex mentioned this in the beginning. Globally, we have over 70 companies. In the Americas, about 30. So we have a lot of opportunities across the board. I know Rakuten Ready, which Mahdi and Alex are a part of. I've spoken with Jaron Waldman, the CEO, and he's really excited about the potential to take interns on their team next summer. Across the company, for tech roles, we're in the process of having them submitted right now. So I'll be posting them on Doorways kind of throughout the fall recruiting season and keeping you up to date and just keeping in touch with career services and any student who wants to talk. So it's going to be kind of on a rolling basis, but we do plan on growing our program for summer of 2021. We do have a Vanderbilt intern who interned with us this summer and actually stayed on through the fall part-time. So I think silver lining of this whole virtual situation is we are taking part-time virtual interns as well. If anyone is interested in doing something, I mean, fall might be too late, but spring semester, we found that to be kind of the one plus is because the virtual internship this summer worked so well, and now we know that it can be done successfully. But yeah, so at the moment, we don't have a full list of available roles, but we had design and engineering and data science and a whole bunch of technical roles this past summer that we'll certainly have again next summer. So I'd say keep your eyes peeled if you're interested specifically in Rakuten Ready or any of our other businesses. I'm available by phone or email. So if I think my contact information should be listed on Doorways, but definitely perhaps feel free to share it.
Awesome, thank you very much. And along those lines, after applications are available and students apply, could you provide us with a sense of what that interview process would look like? Is there a technical interview portion? How students, some tips on how students could prepare for it?
Yeah, sure. So the standard process going forward, it's not going to be, going on campus in air quotes, this, and doing the full day, because we recruit for so many different roles where each team would only have 1 to 2 interns on it. So first round will just be 30-minute behavioral. Each team in the tech world kind of has their own test in between the first and final round, where it's up to them whether it's on Codility or I don't know, Madi and Alex, if you haven't had interns yet, but I don't know if you'd have some sort of like design test. So that piece of it is up to each team, and then final round would be just a behavioral panel of 2 to 4 interviews, so 30 minutes each. So it's actually pretty quick and straightforward. But we also plan on doing that on a rolling basis as the roles come in. We'll look at the applications and probably start interviewing in the next couple of weeks, when I'm anticipating the first batch of roles, and then all the way through early spring.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And then I think last one for me, in addition to applying with Rakuten being a larger company, any other tips on just kind of how to break through? I know sometimes students will come to us and say, hey, you know, applied, I'm not hearing back, not sure the best way to inquire. Should I try to network? Should I try to seek out a referral? So any kind of tips or suggestions on that piece of it?
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's tricky for me. So I'm 7 months in, and I think Madi and I were actually talking last week about how to even fully describe Rakuten, because we just have so many different exciting things going on. But we were like, can we name all 30 businesses in the Americas? But I mean, it's great how much we span across, you know, having a cancer center and a credit card and a TV streaming platform, being sponsors of the Warriors and FC Barcelona and several baseball teams in Asia. It's exciting, but sometimes overwhelming. So I think it's important, you know, there are so many opportunities with the same skill set that Madi was just describing and for other tech roles. And it's a matter of trying to figure out which business unit do you want to work under, or which team do you want to meet with. So if someone's not responding on LinkedIn, that's normal. Also, because our intern program is in such growth stage, it's not completely, you know, spread across. I think Madi actually just learned about our internship when we were connecting last week. So we're still getting the word out, but definitely reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with the right contact and go from there. But just keep checking the career site. The jobs will continue to be posted.
Awesome. That sounds great. Any questions from the students we have in today? And feel free, if you want to submit them via chat to me directly, you can, and I can relay them.
Yeah. And I actually have a question for the students, if that makes it easier. What are you guys, how are you finding this to be? I imagine this is one of the first events, being back on campus. So how's it been for you? What types of roles are you looking for? I know tech is a very broad world. So is there anything that you specifically are interested in this space, or anything specifically about Rakuten? Any takers?
And I don't want to put you on the spot, but Charles, I see Charles in here, and I work with Charles. So if I could volunteer Charles to chime in, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so thanks, Parish. I really enjoyed the presentation today, and it's good. Like I actually didn't know that much about Rakuten before, but I went online, I researched it, I found out you own things like Viber and sort of other general things I've heard of. And yeah, I'm sort of I'm a sophomore, and I'm just sort of kicking off my search for internships, and I'm a CS major, so I'm looking for something more software or like data science related, but it's still early stages for me, and I plan to apply, like send in many applications, and yeah.
Good. Thank you, Charles. And that brings up a good point. So we also do take sophomore interns, and we do accept applications for multiple roles. So multiple locations. So our main locations in the US, San Mateo out in the Bay Area is our headquarters. Then we have New York, where I'm based, Chicago, Seattle, Tampa, Boston, among a couple of others, but there's no limit on what you can apply to. So if you find yourself applying to one job and going through the interview process, maybe that's not for you, reach out to me. I actually, if another job is posted that looks more interesting, we can get you in the process there.
Thank you. I'll definitely look into it.
Thanks, Charles. Thank you, Michelle. Any other questions before we wrap up for today? All right, well, if any of the students here today, feel free to reach out to me if a question does come to mind, and I could certainly connect you with Michelle. Again, huge thank you to you, Michelle, Alex, and Madi for taking the time to chat with us. It was great to learn a bit more about Rakuten. Very excited about continuing this new partnership with Vanderbilt, and I'm excited for some opportunities ahead. Hopefully we could place some students into the internship opportunities.
Yeah, hope so. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and thanks, Parrish, for helping to organize. And I saw that several people signed up online, so feel free to send the recording around.
We definitely will share it. We'll email it out. So thank you all again. Have a good rest of the week. Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.